or presents Showdown at Cremation Creek, Part 1.
This is Gary Butterfield.
This is Cole Ross.
Welcome to the end.
Or the beginning of it, anyway.
The beginning of the end of one of the beginnings, the second beginning.
You want to make it more confusing?
I don't not want to undo it.
Oh, yeah, where we've reached the end of season 2, and this is a good time. I like it when the boys have an opportunity in these multi-part episodes to kind of let things sprawl a little bit. We get
so much boys.
Yeah, just kind of let things kind of hang out. We're only talking about the first part of the Showdown at Cremation Creek because this is how they were presented. But these two together make a really good climax.
Yeah, it's one of the better season finales I think they've done.
Yeah.
Even though I don't think they agree with that.
Yeah.
I like the scope and scale of this quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. I was surprised to see them talk about like, oh, we don't feel like we laid enough track for Monarch and Dr. Girlfriend to get back together.
It's really, to me, I think it's not that they didn't lay enough track. It just spaced weird.
Yeah.
You know, because we have parts of the Monarch, you know, dealing with his feelings, and we have Dr. Girlfriend being dissatisfied with Phantom Limb.
Yeah.
They're just kind of bunched up.
Yeah, and then we have state dinner and stuff like that, like whole episodes where that entire plot is dropped, right?
We just take a break, yeah. And it's going to become the Venture Brothers trick, where it's like it's just spinning a lot of plates. Mm-hmm. You know, so I think that maybe I wonder if they looked back on this, you know, a little bit later, would be a little bit easier on themselves.
Yeah, maybe
with that. Yeah. Yeah. As is though, this is big important set of episodes, and just on rewatch full of miraculous little details that I absolutely adore.
Yeah.
So written by both the boys, Doc Hammer and Jackson Public, aired originally October 8th, 2006. And this is a wedding episode.
It is, as a finale ought to be. So like these dates, you know, I put them in because it's nice to have a little ritual at the beginning of every episode. I'm like placing Venture Brothers kind of in my own personal life. Like, okay, like I associate it mostly like with high school. However, no, this episode came out like in within my first couple weeks at college, which is weird. I was an adult when this was airing. That's more of a personal problem than any actual like salient comment on the show.
You need me to do anything about it?
No. There's no action no action items associated here.
Yeah. Listener, if you can think of anything to do about the fact that Cole was an adult when this came out, do it. Tons of stuff, tons of areas of focus that are all things that we love. So lots of guild. Kind of things here, including the canonical introduction of David Bowie as the Sovereign, which, you know, obviously I am a huge David Bowie fan. I have been since high school.
Yeah.
You know, one of the artists who I've basically memorized, and this, you know, in just feeling the show was directly for me moments. Like Bowie just showed up and I lost my shit. Then they tried to get Bowie for the role. They talked to his people.
Yes.
But they do not know if those people got to Bowie or not.
Right. They I love the way that they put it in the art book, which is like what we did. As far as I know, he didn't say no.
We
just
might have done it and just not told us.
We reached the point. Where we had to shit or get off the pot. And they had James Urbaniak do the role of David Bowie here, who is rolling around. He's got a crew. He's got henchmen. He's got
Bowie's henches are that's so goddamn good, and I'm gonna camp out on it. Like there's a reason why we're not doing this with the part 2, because it'd be like a 3-hour episode of Orb.
It would,
because I've got a lot of educating to do about Klaus Nomi.
Okay,
to you and the audience.
Yeah.
So
we'll talk about who his henches are when we get there. But yes,
astute listeners might have just got a hint.
Klaus Nomi.
As to which one of them are.
Yeah.
Also, weird off-model Sergeant Hatred.
Yeah. Didn't quite nail the vocal performance yet,
I think. No.
Yeah.
But he's the scene with him is a standout in this. Is like pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also, the henchman with the boys. Everything with 24 and Hank and 21 or 21 and Hank and 24 and Dean is just incredible.
Yeah. I like
so my all-time favorite shit.
I love Dean because like he's here in this cocoon, and all that he's really interested in, he just wants to like check the materials more than anything.
Yeah.
Dean is like, I would be in this place.
He wants the source book. He's the guy who doesn't watch Star Trek, but he buys the book that like has all the stats on the Enterprise.
Yeah, or the different versions of the Enterprise. Like how did they how did they upgrade it over the years, you know? Yeah. And it's funny because like with a different character and with a different performance, you could see this as like espionage. Like, guys, what kind of metal is this made of? No, this is just Dean being a real weirdo.
He's being a classic Dean. And Dean is also on the commentary, but as per usual, the commentary does not provide very much in the way of insight.
What's funny is it actually did provide some insight. There were a couple of points where Doc Hammer was describing like the Adobe workflow that he used to like replace backgrounds and stuff. So like when they get the animation, like they can do separations from like foreground and background elements and stuff. And like, oh yeah, this is the when the Order of the Triad was originally fighting Tord, it was in this shitty little closet. So I wanted to put it into a different thing. So I did all this. And then he stops himself because he's like, who the fuck cares? And I'm like, me, I'm raising my hand. Me, I care.
Dean does. He's Mike Sinternickencloss is kind of eggs him into that and then immediately kind of backs off. Like eggs him into talking about that almost as like a joke.
Yeah.
Like their relationship with the voice actor for Dean is very like interesting in terms of ball busting and such. But you're right. It verges on insight at certain points. And during the second part of it, there's more because they just talk about how upset they are about the cliffhanger thing.
Right.
And that colors the book a lot too, which I also I agree is also kind of shitty. I'm with them as this being a narrative faux pas.
Yeah.
The episode almost didn't make it to air because the plane carrying the tapes was struck by lightning. So
that is really funny to me that it was literally shipped across the country as opposed to being delivered as a high resolution file or something like that. 2006 was different times. Like different time. even 2009 when I worked on that soap opera, every day when an episode was going to go to air, a bike courier came to the studio in South Brooklyn and literally biked a Betamax tape of that day's episode up to the headquarters in Midtown Manhattan, over on Broadway. So it was like, every single day biked from Brooklyn up to Manhattan. And this was in 2009. So television, at least at that point, was extremely outmoded, even for that period.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's a tired observation. Like I'm criticizing myself with that, not you. But just how quickly things are changing.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. Like I was thinking the other day, I saw some burned CDs that I had, and I was remembering like CDR parties.
Oh yeah,
people would have. You come over to somebody's house, pop in the CDR you brought, and then like download a data disk full of MP3s.
Yeah,
and that constituted a party.
That was a party. And
it was a party to me.
Yeah, in middle school, people finding out that I had a CD burner, so then all of a sudden people were giving me lists. Like people who never talked to me were giving me like a list of songs they wanted, and then like $5 saying, "Pretty please, can you pretty please?"
Yep.
It's like
quite a side hustle.
Kinda, yeah. I didn't ask for it though. People just heard I had a CD burner.
Yeah. No, it's like when you find out somebody in your neighborhood has a truck and you have them help you move.
Oh yeah. Don't do that. That poor person already owns a truck.
Yeah. Well, I also think if you're buying a truck, you know what you're getting into.
Maybe.
Like 100%. Like, why else do you own a truck? Like to move yourself.
Yeah,
but that's selfish.
Yeah. No, and that's why if I ever got a truck, it would be constantly full of rebar.
rebar, or you just cement in the back and just close it off like a Amontillado in the back of the truck and forget it.
Oh man, there's a fun line in the art book as they talk about Trucules, kind of talking about him being, it's a fun name, but we never were really happy with the design. And Doc Hammer goes on
that he has wheels on his feet for some reason,
which is perfect.
Idiots.
yeah. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, because here's the thing, he's already perfect. But Doc Hammer goes on an extended riff talking about, you just open the door and his organs are hanging there. He says inside of Trucules is a living nightmare, which is really good.
It's just his skin is a truck. He's not a truck surrounding skin. The skin is the truck. It's like how the shell is the turtle. I was talking to my bandmates. We did a socially distanced yard hang, and we were talking about the coming out of their shells tour.
Okay.
Recently, and it's just like, what a horrible thing to happen to a turtle. Like they are their shells. Like you're just imagining the 4 turtles crawling out on stage, like very sick.
Well, I mean, a turtle coming out of his shell is like a human coming out of his spine.
It's not. The coming out of their spine tour just hits different.
Yeah, coming out of it, breaking out of his cage. Hey, I'm sorry, those are my ribs, actually.
Yeah, like I need those. They're not an impediment to me. I know that sometimes I keep nunchucks in them, but Jesus.
I like how you said I was talking about the turtles coming out of their shell tour recently. You've been talking about that for the 11 years
like
I've known you, dude.
Yeah,
you had a whole episode of your old show talking about the gums.
There'll be more too. It's not like there's not turtle features. Like the Ninja Turtles are fucking fascinating, man.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, hero turtles in Britain.
Oh yeah.
Let's get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Here.
Sorry, a mouthful of coffee. We open up with the Monarch delicately bringing an orange and some carob covered pretzels to Dr. Girlfriend. They're at a crappy motel, and these were the only snacks they had.
Yeah. Yep. For some weird reason, the second show we recorded in a row that reminded me of breakfast I ate from hotel vending machines as a kid.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's a running theme this week. She wants more sex, and he jumps on her. He notices that her breasts are way bigger, and asks if she's riding her menstrual cycle, and then says maybe he ruins the moment because he says maybe Phantom Limb stuck a secret in her oven.
Yeah. Not the best thing to say. You were pretty close to sealing the deal, dude.
Well, he's been sealing the deal on the repeat. The deal has been repeatedly sealed. It's just Phantom Limb is a kind of possessive, clingy piece of shit.
Yeah, true.
Trust issues.
Yeah, or you mean the Monarch
for good boyfriends?
You mean the Monarch is a possessive, clingy shit? I mean, both of them are. You said Phantom Limb is a possessive, clingy shit.
Yeah, they're both clingy shits.
Yeah, fighting over Dr. Girlfriend. Who is tired of the arrangement. She, hates sneaking out on Phantom Limb. She wants to be with the Monarch, but he just feels that this is just untenable and he can't offer her more. And as she starts crying out of desperation, the Monarch proposes marriage.
Yeah, I love this. Marry me. Are you serious? Deadly serious. She says that she's been sneaking out on Phantom Limb, and the excuse that she keeps getting jumped by flying squid with the welt on her neck is starting to wear thin, which I love. She accepts, but she's been prepared for this.
Yeah.
She pulls out a list of demands. No more I need space crap. She needs to be Monarch's equal. He'll get her a crown or something. Mm-hmm. And he has to give up his grudge against Dr. Venture.
Yeah.
Wherever she was hiding that presumably moist list, which shows a real immature understanding of vaginas.
Yes.
As per whenever anybody's smuggling stuff in their vagina in a in a cartoon.
Yeah.
It's like, I know. But it's probably not a real basement flutter.
Yeah,
to have a cool list down there.
It's probably pretty uncomfortable, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. You're not just like, oh man, this gets me so hot. I have a list in there.
Ooh, 20-pound gauge paper. Yes.
Avocados if in season.
And the Monarch reluctantly agrees to the final term. He's initially outraged because, arching Dr. Venture is his raison d'etre,
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's going to be their kind of arc.
Yes.
In married life for a while.
Yeah.
We cut over to the cocoon and it's an absolute wreck. It looks like there's kind of a fake here because it looks like the henchmen have all been beat up.
Yes.
At first. But it turns out they're waking up hungover. Mm-hmm. And, they're talking about how they want to be mercifully killed until Brock comes from this, says from the cell, I got an idea, fatty. Let me out and I'll kill you.
Yeah.
And that's our smash cut.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to find out what happened later, but they are in jail. The Ventures are in jail.
Yes. In the background of this scene, there's a blow-up doll. Whenever there's a in a certain kind of media, especially from a particular era, whenever there's a bachelor party or boys being boys,
fucked a pool toy.
Yeah. So
the lucky birthday boy, the bachelor boy, gets to have some alone time.
Yeah.
With a sharp-edged pool toy.
Don't drown. Take Deborah with you.
Yeah. The way those things work too is that they're first of all they're terrifying. They're all lovely, Linda.
Right. Yeah.
But they're also really uncomfortable because they have
seams,
balloon seams.
Yeah. They had to be fused at the side somewhere. Yeah. And
when I say uncomfortable, I'm not saying when you fuck them it sucks. I'm saying that I've just touched one and been like, ow, this is sharp.
Yeah.
Weird.
Uh-huh.
Been at a bachelor party where somebody threw one at me and I'm like, fuck, man, you can take out my eye.
Yeah, no.
With it's like sex toy?
It's like throwing it's all corners. Come on.
Yeah. It's like having sex with a cubist drawing. You don't stick your dick in Picasso, man.
Yeah, no.
That's what they say.
The second worst thing to happen in Guernica.
Yeah.
Is that too soon? We're coming up on a century.
Too late.
Okay. So the Monarch, he's out with Phantom Limb, basically just talking man to man, like, hey, them's the breaks.
Stuff.
Yeah, he's there to get her shit, right? And Phantom Limb, ultra menacingly, is shooting pheasant. He's got a shotgun with him. It's also worth noting we're getting our fancy credits over this. Yes, yeah.
This has prestige TV credits, which I really love.
Yeah. Phantom Limb seems really blasé about the upcoming marriage. Doesn't seem to be bothered by it. He is pretending to not care. To understand. Yes, women like that. You have to let her do what she wants. But Monarch's just, hey, can you please stop shooting stuff? Just give me your shit. And Phantom Limb interrupts, says, hey, sorry, I need to take care of something. And then he shoots Mr. Monday.
Yeah. Yeah. This is, I love the tone of this because it's funny, but it also is Phantom Limb's, idea of being threatening. Mm-hmm. And you end up with kind of an interesting, one of the things that Venture Brothers does a lot is have one character in a scene who kind of has a real world perspective and another character who's playing the game. Mm-hmm. And so often the Monarch is playing the game. Mm-hmm. But in this one, he's not.
Yeah.
When he's just like, what, it takes him a little bit, he's a little slow on the uptake. Yeah. I hate these dinks as much as you do, but you're hunting human game to impress me. That's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Shooting all the whole gang and that tragically putting an end to Mr. Monday, Dr. Septipus, and White Noise, who we'll never see again.
Yeah. And even even ices Tiny Attorney.
Yeah, who he hired. He's like, break them out of prison. I got them the finest attorney available. Closing off a plot thread that I had forgotten about from the last season finale.
Oh yeah.
Or from the trial of the Monarch. Mm-hmm. So this is obviously the most dangerous game.
Right.
Well, for people who don't know what this is referencing.
Yeah. And, Phantom Limb says revenge like gazpacho soup is best served cold, precise, and merciless. Yeah, you can never have enough precision in your soup. Just totally just trying to big time the Monarch. It's lame, like all of Phantom Limb stuff is lame. Only Phantom Limb can make shooting somebody lame.
He's incredible specimen. He gives up the box of stuff.
Yes.
We cut over to the Order of the Triad because this is the finale. It has to have kind of everybody. Mm-hmm. One of the things I realized during this is how great would it be to be friends with the alchemist.
That would be awesome.
He's so fun.
Oh yeah, he's really interested in taking care of people around him.
Yeah,
and he's really considerate.
He's like real quick. Like I'd crack up constantly with that dude.
Yeah.
I love him during this. I love his like polite, like, give us the eye of the divine.
You
please.
should give us the eye.
Oh, you should. You should. Like just hanging out with this crew is so incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I love the idea of it. To get the orb of truth, which is an eyeball, they form the thaumaturgic man mound, which is a triangle.
Yeah. It's like they form like a shitty human pyramid, right?
Yeah.
And they they make the laser blast that defeats Torrid, but like all of them are hurt afterwards because being in a human pyramid sucks.
Yeah.
Like we only practice this once a month. How do you expect us to be good at it?
Yeah, Dr. That's starting the conflict here with Dr. Orpheus, and the alchemist takes the window out by taking the eyeball and putting it up to his face and saying, "Hey, look, guys, I'm in the Residence." Which is a band a friend of mine repeatedly tried to get me into.
It's probably
every single time they had an album.
What, 80s new wave kind of thing?
No, I'm not, apologies to any Residence fans in the audience. I'm not a big fan. They're way more like experimental or goofy artists.
Gotcha.
Than that. So it's like, here's our album that was done entirely on toy instruments. Here's our album with this gimmick.
Yuck.
And I never cared for it.
Yeah.
But they did have giant eyeballs on their head.
Yeah, well, that's cool. That's a good aesthetic. Mm-hmm. I like that. Good
image.
Yeah.
We go back to the kidnapping where the Monarch realizes what's happened. It's been a month,
yep.
Since this happened, and he's furious at 2124 for kidnapping Brock and the Ventures. He made a sacred pinky swear with Dr. Fiance. Dr. Fiance, a short-lived
title,
non-diplome.
Yeah, and the mark raises a good point. Like, it's not that I'm not impressed. How could you why couldn't you have done this at any point in the past 10 years? And 21 narrates what's happening. The henchmen were out carousing, and they walked through the Tenderloin, and they needed to go in to a tattoo parlor for some sweet ink.
Yeah, he just had to get me some ink. Yeah. He's been carrying this designer on in his wallet, which is for a butterfly tramp stamp.
Yep.
I'm so happy about that.
Yeah.
And then it was Brock in there getting an Icarus tattoo, getting a Led Zeppelin tattoo.
Yeah.
So they managed to get the jump on him. There are tons of casualties, but they managed to get him.
Yeah.
Including one of the henchmen who gets tattooed on his face, who shows up later.
It's so good. Also very good is just in the middle of telling this, 21 says, "Stand by," and then just issues forth a torrent of vomit.
Yep. With texture. It's not like the ayahuasca vomit from last episode.
Yeah, which is just white. It was like Mortal Kombat sweat coming out of their guts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Issuing
and
forth.
now it looks like a little bit like Play-Doh or something. They're like, okay, well, that means Rusty's defenseless because we took care of Brock, so they went and got Rusty and the boys. Dr. Fiance walks in and is furious, and the Monarch sitcom covers for it.
Yeah, saying, I wanted to show how much I was committed to my promise. I've made Rusty my best man.
Yeah. And they're in a cell because Hank wanted to see the inside of a jail cell. And he covers over, he smooths over at this point. And then, he looks over. I love, he kisses Dr. Fiance, and Rusty realizes that, Dr. Fiance is Charlene from the Midlife Chrysalis episode. Mm-hmm. But I also like the look that the Monarch gives them, like the play along. Come on,
please do this for me.
It's just very good.
Can you do me a solid? Even though Rusty at one point raises a good point. I can't think of a day you haven't ruined, which is nice. Yeah. Elsewhere, back at Limbs, the Sovereign is issuing his dictate to Phantom Limb, saying, "Hey, we can sanction no vengeance on the Monarch at the wedding
because you got dumped." Which is unfortunate.
Maybe start a journal or go jogging with friends.
Spill your feelings under the tear stage tear-stained pages of Dear Diary.
Yeah, not bad advice, but also not the advice that somebody who's a criminally insane supervillain would actually listen to.
Yeah. Well, and you wouldn't expect the Sovereign to be giving it.
No.
He's like, I gotta get to a wedding.
Sorry.
Really good.
And a door opens, revealing that Phantom Limb has trained an army. He's got helicopters and stuff back there. Got a full force ready to go. And then he kind of fades to the background until the climax here.
Then we get like what is my favorite part of the episode, which is everybody pairing off here. Hank mixing up with 21, which is such a perfect pairing.
Oh yeah,
like these guys like each other. Like Hank starts like busting his balls. Like how could you be a henchman? You wear a costume. You have the skinny guy yelling at you, and he's like, "Are you talking about me or you?"
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not wearing a costume." Are you drunk?
Yeah.
Like,
your dad shops with a time machine.
You're wearing a blue kerchief. Which, again, good point.
Yeah. Rusty sneaks away. He chases after a Moppet who is running through the hallways with a veil, figuring that the veil is heading toward Charlene, right? And Dean, the ever enthusiastic young scamp, is paired off with 24, who is just sick of his shit.
Dean in 24 is so good.
Yep.
Like, he's is this a chromium based metal or a carbon based metal? And 24 is like, I don't know what they're made of, but they're wicked easy to stain. And then one of my favorite episodes or lines in the episode is Dean goes, well, then we can rule out chromium based metals. They clean easily with a damp cloth. And 24 goes, okay, I'll rule that out. I love that so much.
Oh man. And then kind of a bummer, Brock is giving the Monarch a hard time about being a closet case. It's his whole thing with he's the last person on the show's cast who hasn't gotten on board with Dr. Girlfriend just being a lady. Right. And Monarch turns it back on him, saying like, oh yeah, no, you're walking around, you got this tattoo of a naked guy, and he's dismissive of how cool the Led Zeppelin tattoo is.
The Monarch is really, confident of this. She's the hottest piece of ass in supervillainy in the face of Brock basically being the last person on board to realize that Dr. Girlfriend is a lady.
Yes.
Calling her man witch, just talking that she's a transsexual.
Yeah. Not great. But, oh well. 21 takes Hank to his bedroom to grab a uniform. Because we need to dress for the wedding, right? And Hank ridicules him for having so many toys, though they immediately start playing.
This is so cute. The toys are amazing as well. I love the part with 21 feeding him the lines. He's like, what is that? He's like, that's a maquette. And he's like, how could you can't play with a maquette. And then Hank immediately goes back on his own premise and like, well, what if it's an all-knowing head who gives orders to Quisp? To kill the Micronaut. There's some controversy since Quisp is never shown, whether it's the cereal mascot or the Aquaman buddy. I would probably guess Aquaman buddy, given how much Doc and Jackson love Aquaman.
Yes. Yeah. If it was a cereal mascot, that doesn't make sense with literally anything else that's in that closet as well.
Yeah. The maquette here is Hugo, the man of a million disguises, which we've stumbled upon on an Abject Suffering before.
Have we? Okay.
Do you remember that? Yeah.
Vaguely I do. It's like a featureless head that you can kind of potato head bunches of stuff onto.
And then also wear them yourself is the idea behind it.
Okay.
Which is what happens here. But you would get this doll with all these disguises, and you'd disguise them as these different things. And Hank pulls it off of the Hugo doll.
Yeah, pulls a goatee.
Puts it on himself.
Yeah, which 21 immediately gets enthusiastic about, saying, "Oh, you should totally grow one of those."
You're like a mirror version of Hank, evil Hank.
But this is Hank discovering the alter ego of Russian Guyovich.
I love it. So good.
Yep.
The Rusty Venture alarm clock that 21 has goes off to tell them to get ready for the wedding, so they have to go. Dean, who is previously asking for a tour of the engine room, like, I know what I'd like to do. Like, and just playing around. 24 sends him away and says, "Don't touch anything in the engine room."
Yeah.
Thus leading to a surprisingly large B plot in the next episode.
Yep. So Rusty, having chased the Moppet, he walks in on Dr. Fiance getting ready for the wedding and chases the Moppets out. And he's being real coquettish, laying on the old Rusty Venture charm, saying, "I brought you something blue. Me."
Yeah. Very, very, very cute. And just also absolutely clueless.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it worked. We worked. 2 + 2 = forever. Basically trying to convince her that, she actually loves him because she was the sexiest pile of girl parts to ever climb Mount Rusty. Mm-hmm. Which, keep in mind, they did not have sex. She just injected him with a serum.
Yep. He's doing a lot of rounding up, let's say.
Yeah.
And she tries to pop his bubble, saying like, "No, I was playing that part under orders." And then she lays out what the intended end game was for the transformation in Midlife Chrysalis, which was to turn him into a big butterfly and tie him to a bug zapper.
Yeah. Yeah. Very nice little bit of callback.
Yeah.
To a season 1 highlight.
Yeah.
Rusty won't, none of these people are taking a proper no for an answer when it comes to Dr. Girlfriend, because he keeps pushing.
Yeah.
He says, you have to make a choice between, him and me. I won't share you. Just immediately laying down conditions.
Yeah.
Yeah. We cut back over to the triad where Al came over in his Hawaiian shirt with his fancy beer and a bag of chips that promises to be extreme.
I love Dr. Orpheus's response to that. How is that possible?
I don't know. They have lightning bolts on the bag or something. Like it's God. I love The Alchemist.
Alchemist is so good. Or just they cut a line and they because Orpheus is like, "I thought you were supposed to come over in disguise." And like, "Oh yeah, I came as a paunchy gay guy who likes Jimmy Buffett."
Jimmy Buffett. Yeah, really good.
It was going to go on to say, "Okay, so it's a bad disguise," because that's exactly what he is.
The Jefferson and Twilight is putting together their conjuring, which is a yoga mat and a birthday candle. And Al says we should take the edge off. Jefferson Twilight begins to interrupt him to say he doesn't drink. Because I know, that's why I got a 5-pack of nickel nips.
Yeah.
Which, if people don't know what these are, have you ever had one of these?
Oh, I love these
Were
things.
these around when you were?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, of course you do.
Because I love old bad candy. Come on, dude.
They are barely candy. Like these are the weirdest things. Like these were old when my mom was a kid, so she would try to give me she's like, "Hey, you want some nickel nips?" And I get them. They're soft wax bottles filled with syrup.
It's like a teaspoon of sugar water.
Yeah, and you just chew them. You bite off the top, you drink the sugar water, and then you're supposed to chew on the wax.
Fucking no, you throw the wax away.
That's not the intended nickel nip experience, my friend. I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to police how you do. I'm not gatekeeping nickel nips in 2021. I'm just saying that I think the intended sales case was you chew on the wax.
Yeah.
Like a kind of flavorless gum.
No, I never did that. So.
A very Depression era, feeling thing. I love him tempting Jefferson to it. Like, "What's that? You're waxy good."
And Jefferson Twilight is shaking and sweating. It's like he's offering a junkie a hit. Because I do not understand this portrayal of diabetes, but Jefferson Twilight is diabetic and he loves sweet juice. So
he likes the sweet treats.
Yeah, baklava. Yeah. But this is supposed to be a play on Blade being half vampire, so he has to have blood, and he goes a little bit crazy when there's blood around, right?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. It's been a while since I've seen the Blades. I've never really read Blade comics. I think that's what it was. Even if this is a non sequitur, I like it because nickel nips are so fucking weird.
It's a good pull. Yeah.
Yeah. Weird as fucking candy. It cuts to later that they've taken the edge off. Al's already a little Busby Berkeley. They're playing Truth or Dare.
Yeah.
He's talking about a sexual encounter where he got stood up. Got a raging case of crotch crickets, and he's still waiting for that old chestnut to come home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're playing Truth or Dare, and it ultimately comes down to did you seriously expect this to work out? getting a bunch of middle-aged men together to be magical superheroes. Like,
yeah. And it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
You know, Dr. Orpheus is like, yeah, I did. And Al is trying to explain, like, I would like to actually do good in the world. I don't want to do the game.
Right.
You know, he's doing it in his alchemist-like way, but that's his ultimate point here.
Yeah.
You know, we go back to the seating arrangement. I love whenever Brock just takes on a job.
Yep.
You know,
He's an usher now.
Right beforehand, Dean goes into the engine room. They do the, you know, I'm not actually in your mind. I'm on the PA. Don't go in the engine room. But he's going to go in there to examine it to, again, surprisingly large B plot in the second episode.
Yeah.
Brock is ushering, and I love Hank's like, where's Dean? He's like, oh, he's probably somewhere torturing Monstroso with Snapple facts.
Love the Snapple facts.
For people who don't know what that is, again, I'm just going to explain things to the youngs because we get youngs now. The Snapple, which was like a tea, kind of tea juice hybrid.
The Snapple definitely is still sold. You know, it's like a glass bottle thing you get from vending machines.
Which is like way less of a market share, though. Snapple was huge for a while.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So much so that like it was the primary source of facts for a while.
but before the internet was around for factoids. Yeah.
We used to put factoids under our Snapple caps.
Yes.
So you'd open a Snapple, you would say one Snapple fact to your friends, and then proceed to drink the Snapple, and somehow that was a party. Then you go and burn some CDs.
Yep.
We didn't know how to live.
You use your Ronco cap snaffler to snaffle the cap of your Snapple cap. So.
Yeah. then you fact all your Snapple the Capple facts.
Yes.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, but he's not torturing anybody with Snapple facts. He is instead ignoring one of the henchmen who says, "Oh boy, our radar's been lit up. Please take this to the Monarch." So
yes.
a little bit of foreshadowing here. Back up at the seating, we get Trucules here, who came stag because this rig takes up 2 seats.
You know, and Brock being a hard ass, you only get one bag of Jordan almonds. Like no real reason.
Yeah.
Hank finds out he's seated next to Sergeant Hatred and Princess Tiny Feet. So he's squicked out because Sergeant Hatred bad touched him, as we referenced in the I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings episode. And Gus, which is Princess Tiny Feet, our introduction to her. He puts on the Russian Guyovich beard to kind of disguise himself. And we get our first kind of a little bit off characterization of Sergeant Hatred.
Yes.
That's much closer to the version they invented in the commentary.
Yes. The commentary where he inspired by the army looking guy who was watching softcore porn in a coffee shop. But here we've got yeah. But here we've got Sergeant Hatred showing off the little toesies on Princess Tiny Feet.
Show them the boys.
Yeah.
You know, Mrs. And she just lifts up her feet.
Yeah.
You know,
and he says they're like little niblets. And she says her only line in the entire series. She says, Maze. Yeah. Because she's styled after stereotypical like Native American princess kind of
she's
thing. The
Land O'Lakes.
Oh.
I think she's the Land O'Lakes.
Okay.
Butter girl specifically.
Yeah.
And Sergeant Hatred starts licking between her toes right in front of Hank, which is just
at a wedding,
grody.
dude.
Yeah, wedding. Come on, dude. Keep in your pants, Sergeant Hatred. The 21 and 24 are playing their wedding song, which you can find online, which I really love the chord progression to. Like a lot of the music in this show, I really unironically love the pop music. And we cut over to Brock, and he looks over and goes, David Bowie.
Yep.
Because David Bowie has shown up with his henchmen.
He's got Iggy Pop and Klaus Nomi.
Iggy Pop from the Stooges. He did Lust for Life. And I Don't Want to Be Your Dog, The Passenger.
Yes,
You know?
Iggy Pop. He worked with David Bowie when they were both trying to get clean together in Berlin, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And he looks like a human jerky. Like he looks just like he does in the show. It's one of those accurate depictions of a celebrity they've ever done.
He looks feral in the show, and
that's
in
what
real
he
life.
looks like in real life, man.
True. Yeah.
Like he's like a diet Gigi Allen. Like he's just this. Like, he walks so Gigi Allen could cut himself and rub shit in the wounds on stage.
Yeah.
And then Klaus Nomi, who was not part of the circle, but performed with David Bowie doing Ashes to Ashes on Saturday Night Live, like a very famous performance, who is a German new wave, like part of the New York art cabaret scene, has this incredibly beautiful operatic voice and did cheesy pop songs with it.
Was he associated with a band at all, or was it just Klaus Nomi?
It's just Klaus Nomi.
Yeah.
He played like big concerts and stuff. He did like this concept album about the end of the world. And it's pretty good. Okay. And there's a good documentary called Nomi Song. He's one of the first kind of that community's big profile AIDS deaths.
Oh, okay.
And one of his singles is called Rubber Band Laser, which is one of the goofiest songs about intergalactic habit trails that he goes through.
Okay.
And it's a real bummer because at no point does he use the rubber band laser in this. They just basically turn him into Banshee.
Yes. Yeah. I like that they turn him into Banshee.
I like that too. I just wanted to see a deeper cut because I'm a fucking nerd.
Well, of course.
Yeah. And enjoy the music of Klaus Nomi.
But apparently there was some history. Brock says you're lucky I didn't kill you after what you pulled in Berlin, which is weird because aren't the the Berlin trilogy, aren't those considered to be like really good albums of Bowie's?
That's a creative peak, but it's also just, I think he's just known for Berlin. So the idea here is instead of just doing those albums, he was also doing he was doing sovereign
ops.
Shit.
Yeah. Look, because David Bowie, it's not said that he was it's not said in this episode explicitly, but he is the sovereign. Like, he is here to give away Dr. Fiance's hand in marriage. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And there's a bunch of little cuts, or like not cuts, little references to Bowie songs and to Iggy Pop songs and stuff. Most of those pop up in the next episode.
Yeah.
Dr. Killinger is officiating the wedding. We cut over to the Order of the Triad, where he says, did you, he does, ask his question to Dr. Orpheus, and Orpheus, about whether he really thought this would work. And Orpheus tries to justify it.
Yeah.
He's like, do you remember how both light as a feather and stiff as a board Jefferson was doing the craft shit?
Yeah.
Which I love. And the only thing they managed to conjure was from a trading card, and they cut over to Nyenyub, who I don't even really like Star Wars, but I know who this thing is.
He's what? He's he might be Lando's co-pilot guy, maybe, or he was like an X-Wing pilot in Return of the Jedi or something. He's got
he was a pilot.
Yeah, he's got wide set eyes and like really pronounced jowls, and he speaks in gibberish.
Yeah, just and they talk about this on the commentary, how they're not sure how they got away with it. And it's true, like, he's a really prominent character in this. I love the alchemist just being like, should we take it out back and kill it with a shovel, which is something he's going to suggest multiple times during the next episode. This is where he says, I don't want to be a magical superhero, just dressing up in a costume and chasing the same guy over and over, just fighting toward over and over is stupid.
Yeah.
The Dr. Orpheus's Montel Williams neckpin starts blinking, Al's words, warning him about cosmic peril, that the Dr. Venture is in danger and hundreds of people will die.
Yes.
And he's like, not that you care about this, Al. And Al's like, no, this is actually what I am interested in.
Yeah, let's save some lives.
I am the alchemist.
Yeah.
And then Dr. Orpheus goes, I am Dr. Orpheus, master necromancer. And then it does a push in on passed out Jefferson Twilight, and then cuts to Nien Nub, and gets a little order sign behind him, which is so fucking good.
Yeah, because there needs to be 3.
I love it so much.
Oh. And then we cut to the last shot of the episode. We have Killinger beginning the vows. And Phantom Lynn makes his move. He takes over the PA and the cocoon, and the entire cocoon is surrounded by Phantom Lynn's helicopters. Call off the wedding, or you and everybody in the cocoon dies.
Yeah. Dick move.
Which is not just a move on. It's not just a move on the Monarch and Dr. Girlfriend. It's a move on the entire leadership of the guild who's present.
Yes. Yeah. This is a power play, as we'll find out.
Yeah.
And that's the end of this. That's the cliffhanger for this episode. We're going to be back next week talking about the second part and all of the status quo changing things that happen here. If people like this show, you head on over to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv and get episodes a week early.
You can. If you would like to have your thoughts read and remarked upon in the season 2 wrap up, then I would encourage you to go to Duckfeed.tv/contact and write them in. Please try to keep them confined to specific remarks on season 2.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I have to cut this short because my laundry room is flooding.
Okay.
I've just been informed.
Go deal with that.
So I go deal with that.
Okay.
So thanks, everybody. Go
Good
Team
Team
Hunter.
Hunter.